Is being recorded. All right, welcome everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for coming to our first roundtable of the year for Asian Women Advancing AI. So, as some of you saw in the post that we made on LinkedIn, today we are going to have an open, candid discussion about Claude's constitution that was shared by Anthropic. But really, when we took a look at it, we started asking questions in terms of who should be the one, writing the rules for AI. So Padmini and my job is going to be very easy today because we are going to be like facilitators. And the point of this roundtable is really to have a discussion and get your thoughts around how you feel about this topic, right? Of course, Anthropic happens to be a leader when it comes to making sure that AI is safe and ethical, at least like the values that they have put out there. And of course, thanks to our American administration, there are some issues around it. So I'm not going to delve into it because this stuff is getting recorded and it's going to go on YouTube. So I want to be very mindful about what I'm saying. So with that, we are going to kick it off. So the very first question, that we have is, so, and before actually we jump into that, so how the discussion is going to flow today is that we'll just have a warm up. We'll ask you a few questions for at least like 5 to 10 minutes just to get folks rolling. And then we are going to split up in breakout rooms where we are going to share some targeted prompts. And you all are going to be having discussions in your own little mini pod. And we'll like to request that somebody assumes the role of a facilitator, somebody takes on the role of a note taker, and somebody's basically jotting down all the ideas. And then once that happens, we are all going to come back together and we are going to hear from each one of the groups and then have, and again, an open discussion, right? So the whole point of this is to um, give everybody a chance to voice their opinion, but also learn in terms of what is happening, and then learn from all this. And hopefully it helps us, as we are moving into, and working with AI. So we are going to be a little bit more mindful. So with that, the very first question that we have is, first of all, have you read the Constitution? Before we dive into it, have you looked at it? The very first thing? No? Somebody? Evan, I know you have. You always do. So can you please give a yes? Okay, yes. All right.
Yes.
So that's fine. So what is constitutional AI?
And sort of a follow-up question to that is also, is it the same as a framework? Is constitutional AI just another framework, or is it something else? Any thoughts on that, anyone?
I think constitutional AI becomes or is more rigid compared to a framework because constitutional AI involves regulators, policies, beyond not only the tech framework or ethics behind the usage of the technology. That's what is my initial understanding.
Well,
Uh,
can I
yeah.
add something? Can I add
Sure.
something to that good answer?
Mhm.
It's like giving Claude guiding rules, a constitution, but then you're training it to elicit answers according to that constitution. Because I can give you a constitution, and if you don't follow it, what's the point? And there was an attorney who came on LinkedIn and said, well, why don't we just give Claude all the legal principles, all the Supreme Court decisions, and train it and see if it follows that. So it's the same thing. What can you give Claude to teach it? And then how do you know it's following it? And Claude's the only one who follows this constitutional AI. OpenAI won't do this. Google Gemini won't do this because they just try. So that's the thing. Is it following its own rules, its own constitution? They call it classifiers. So
Right.
So
And I was also thinking of like constitutional AI is more on the training side, when you're actually training the model. whereas frameworks almost come post-trained. And this question actually came up a couple of weeks back when I was in another discussion where I didn't ask this question. Somebody else asked this question, and I was like, "That's a great question. I have to go, look it up myself." But yeah, so I think that it's a more training philosophy. That's where the Constitution comes in. But yeah, great answers.
Yeah. Anybody else? Come on, there's
Yeah,
no
hi.
right
This
or
is
wrong answer.
Chandramouli.
Go ahead,
Uh,
Chandramouli. Yes, go
Sorry,
ahead.
did somebody want to say anything?
No, no, no. We're eagerly waiting to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Viveka. So there has been discussion around how to build guidelines for AI, right? What are the laws that an AI is going to follow? And yes, there are discussions of giving it the law books as such, but then the AI follows the laws of a particular country, right? And again, those laws themselves are debatable, right? There are
Correct.
times when the laws themselves get challenged in the court. The idea of having a constitution for AI, and in India also, there has been very in-depth discussions around this. In fact, the Indian government has come up with certain guidelines around responsible AI, and these are not laws. These are guidelines that have been put out to say what a responsible AI, what an ethical AI looks like, right? And the idea is that people try to build around that. So what I look when I look at Claude's constitution, the way I see it is Claude is, or Anthropic is giving Claude a rule book or a soul that says, follow this and try to follow the laws also, but this is what your soul is going to be. That's how I would look
Love
at it.
that. Love
Yeah,
that answer.
I love that. And just to kind of piggyback off of that, when I was reading this and have been following Anthropic for a while, for me, it was like it's like shaping the character of a system, right? So you're saying that, hey, this is what this is the rule book for you, but I want you to take this and reason, right? Use your judgment. It's almost like, and I always try to compare it to, I'm a mother and I'm raising a child. So I'm always thinking that, okay, what kind of values I want to instill in him and how I want him to be able to decide and reason. Of course, like these, AI models are like pattern recognition machines, right? But they have been equipped with like reasoning capability. So it's almost like, having the constitution as a mechanism to instill values and shaping the character of how you want Claude to reason and act in certain ways. Of course, there are things that are there where it should not be going. And there needs to be kill switch and all those things where we've had instances in the past where Anthropic did the testing and they found that, Claude was not willing to shut down and it's going to push back and all those things. But ultimately, for me, it's like, okay, shaping the character of the system. So, but yeah, Chandramouli, excellent point on that. Anybody else?
Hey guys, I'm Soumya.
Hey, Soumya, good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. I've been following you guys on LinkedIn, and this is the first time I'm joining this thing, and this is definitely an exciting topic for sure, and an important topic to be discussed at this juncture. I think expanding on Chandramauli's thought, so we need to give it certain rules and regulations to govern the society as society at large is using this, right? I think when I was reading on what principles is this constitutional AI inspired from, one of them is like UN Declaration of Human Rights to kind of, honor the international human rights to make sure that AI respects the autonomy, gives due respect to whoever is on the other side interacting with AI. So I think that is one thing. And they use like Apple's terms and service conditions, and Anthropic had also came up with their own guidelines. So those are some of the things that I think I read that inspired the constitutional AI of Anthropic. Yeah, it's hard to kind of bring in each country's own legal systems. Maybe at some point there might be governance of each country, like how Europe had GDPR. Each country, or a set of countries might come up with their own set of governance guidelines that AI companies has to comply with while training these models. But for now, I think it's a good start to kind of look at more international things like UN Declaration of Human Rights, which Anthropic rightly did so. Yeah, I was wondering that it should go broader than that, definitely in the coming years to come, as the interactions have been seeing different levels of misbehaviors, different kinds of deceptive patterns from AI when hackers are especially testing it out. That said, like the guidelines for developing the AI's behavior is one thing, and I think another angle I would like to get everyone's thoughts is like the companies, what the AI companies, what is the stance that they are taking for, what kind of use cases are they allowing with these AI models they are developing? So there is no exact guidelines or governance bodies maybe suggesting that Anthropic can use this for a certain kind of, in the current times, Pentagon and other discussions are happening, right? So are AI companies choosing to support these models in that direction or not? I think there is very less governance or guidance around that perspective as well. So yeah, what governs the AI model's behavior and what governs the AI company's behavior? I think there are two different aspects, and I would like to also maybe touch base slightly on the second aspect and get to know your thoughts.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I'm Blanca. Go for it.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. Well, we already have a lot of frameworks, like about NIST, the European Union, and the thing I am looking is in all of that they are taking account ethics, but like transparency, the data, secure of the data, but they are not talking about values. I mean, ethics is about what we should do, but the moral thing we need to bring it here, because I believe every human acts, we need to say if something is bad in the real life, also is gonna be bad in the virtual life. So I think we can push to that, to include the respect of the human dignity, of our values. That's my opinion about that.
Thank you. Thank you. So one thought was that, sorry, go ahead, Yuvika, if
No,
you
no,
had
no, go
something.
ahead. No, I thought it was very nice what you said, Blanca. Thank you.
The one thought I had was like, how did Claude Anthropic come up with these guidelines? Like what started it? And while reading, it said that some of it also came from the AI itself, so like reaching out to AI to get guidelines for AI. So it almost feels, like
Circular loop.
circular, yeah, like a circular loop.
But isn't that
And
scary? It's like, AI
yes,
is writing the rules. Oh my God.
so what is your thought on that? Like, it's not all of it from there, but it almost feels circular. And anything like that, what is the thought of the group on that?
Well,
Anyone?
Padmini, I was thinking, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, no, you're fine. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think we have to mention that the constitutional AI changed from in recently. Like this is not how Anthropic started.
Yeah.
Their original constitution. When you say circular, now they're prioritizing. The new constitution, a lot of people were saying, why did they do this? Because in the new constitution, it prioritizes like first safe,
Exactly.
first be broadly safe, then be
Then
broadly, I think, ethical,
ethical. Yeah, ethical.
then align with the Constitution, then be
And
helpful. So
helpful.
I'm thinking before it was just here's all the principles, go. Now it's
It's a
first
hierarchy.
safe, hierarchy. So we have to ask ourselves, what happened? Why is safety front and center? What, to me, ethics come first. Why safety? What's happening? What's happening that all of a sudden someone can design chemical, chemical biological weapons, and now their safety levels. Anthropic has safety levels like SL1, SL2. They change that. What is happening? That's what I want people to ask. What's happening in our world? They change their safety level. They increased their safety level. They made safety first. They made ethical second. What's happening?
Because they are aware
I'm
of
worried.
issues.
And
Yeah,
this
everybody is
circular
worried.
loop. So go
Yeah.
ahead. This is why I'm worried.
And you're absolutely right on that, Evan, because again, what happens is that, and we've mentioned this a few times, right? A lot of the research happens behind closed doors. And the fact that they've reprioritized and they've made safety first is because there may have been things that we are not aware of, right? But they want people to be cognizant that if these things run loose, what are the implications going to be for humanity, right? So, it can be misused by bad actors. There is a lot of harm that can be done, and that's why they are trying to prioritize safety. Not everything that happens behind closed doors always comes out first. So AI safety is getting a lot of attention, and I feel it's for the right reasons. So, yeah, there may have been things that they might have discovered, right? And that's why AI safety is the first thing that needs to be number one, right? And
But I'm
everything.
glad, sorry, go finish your thought. And
No. I mean, to your point as well, Evan, like for me also, it's always about like everything needs to originate from ethics needs to be the foundation, right? But the fact that sometimes, safety is it's going to take priority over ethics, right? Because ethics is so what I have observed, and this is just based on my experience, even ethics happens to be very different depending on where you are,
subjective.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very subjective. So ethics is different depending on where you are coming from, like culture, country. So ethical values are also very different. But safety, it's a universal thing, right? Like safety by design, safety in principle. Chandramoli, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Thanks, Viveka. But I mean, glad you touched upon that, relativity of ethics, because, and that's probably why Claude has put ethics second, right, and safety first. It also reminds me of, I don't know how many of you are familiar, but the laws of robotics from Isaac Asimov,
Mhm.
right? So if you study the three laws and then the final zeroth law that came on, right, you will realize that the first bit was trying to keep humans safe and ethical, and that's why I keep the AI and the robots ethical. But then over the series, you realize that is not adequate, and safety has to be first, right? So I mean, when I look at Claude's bit, right, the Constitution, it reminds me again of the laws of robotics that were proposed by
Mhm.
Asimov, right? So,
Agreed.
which is where I think they are prioritizing safety before anything else.
Yeah, physical AI.
Agreed. And I think to sort of what do you call, address this whole sycophancy bias that happens around, just trying to be helpful all the time, trying to please the end user. Helpfulness has come to be the last. So it's like safety, ethics, guidelines, helpfulness. So I think that's even I feel it's a great first step. Evan, you're worried, but we'll come to that right after Sai, and then we'll just touch upon that.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you, Padmini. So after hearing all this, first thing, it really, what Ubika said about, when we raise a child, that really caught my attention. And you talked about training. And so collating all the thoughts, what Chandramouli and Evan has said, when I just relate to my work, I mean, coming from the L&D background, usually when we get into an organization, we have to place one training framework. We do a lot of needs analysis. We get into every section, we get into compliance, we get into business functions, we get into technology, we get into finances to do what are the needs analysis of the training. Okay. And we drive Dell at the end saying this, if I do this way, then I can align to business. I can get the data safety or information security. If I do this, it may breach, my customer, confidentiality. Then only we launch it. Before that, we never do that. And second thing, I think whenever we get into any other third party, a simple example, tool into a organization, very big organization. Okay. For me, at least, when I had to really get an enterprise tool, it took almost 1.5 years for me to give a clearance to get on board that tool in terms of the compliance and security, because I had to get so many checks, legal checks and financial checks. So what is happening? I'm just seeking the opinion. I don't see the front end check that is needs analysis, or are things are being missed there. And the last clearance check, where is the governance, from the government front or from the tech front, who says, yes, Claude is ready to launch now, from the ethical, safety, technological and human centric, from all these aspects. Are these something that we need to think of, even to propose from the government or federal standpoints, so that we don't end up here, whatever the leakages that we are seeing?
Great question. Anyone? Evan, did you? I'm sorry, I'm just catching up.
You just see my thinking face. I'm just thinking. Sai, can you repeat that last part, because you made me think of something?
Is that to Sai?
Yes, Sai.
Yes, sorry. Did you ask something, Evan?
Yeah, can you repeat that very last part of your
Yeah, the
question?
last part was, where is the framework maybe which says, any AI tool can be launched for public use now? Who is going to place the framework? Is it government, or is it, anyone is free to do whatever they, where are the checkpoints to say, like, okay, is it all ready from, from all the angles that, or all the disciplines that it is ready to launch and for the usage?
Well, there is no framework, especially for smaller companies, and we have no state legislation telling us what to do. We think we have a federal framework telling us what to do, and we're confused. We have if you help small businesses, they push products to states like California and Texas, which are very tough. So they want to be guided by the California laws, which are tough, and the New York laws, which are tough, and the Texas laws, which are tough. Then here's our administration saying, ignore them. We're coming up with our own, and the small businesses are confused. Like, what do we do? We have no framework. We have no control. And I'm helping them with compliance, and they're saying we don't know what to do. Because one framework says this, GDPR says this, and AWAAI says this. They're confused. There's so much confusion. They don't know what to do. And if you can also think, what happens if a product is developed with Anthropic? And then what happens if that product passes compliance with Anthropic, and 2 months later, a new version of the product comes out using Gemini? Uh-oh. You already passed compliance. Now you say, I'm going to change it and use Gemini, and the output is good, but you're not under constitutional AI with Gemini, but you were when you pushed the product. Who has to know about that? So this is what's happening out there, and everyone thinks that we're just going to use one model, be compliant, and everyone's happy. That is not reality. So
yeah, and the other thing is, just by going back to what we started out with, Evan, right at the beginning when folks were joining, having this constitution doesn't automatically mean that there's transparency in the model.
Right.
We know that it's followed this, but we don't know how. Yeah. There's no details of any. Yeah.
No audit happening.
Yeah, audit.
Sherry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, sorry I joined late. I could not find the link, and thank you, Yuvika. What I did while all of you were talking is I went to Claude. Did you mention this? Did you ask Claude what it thought about its new AI constitution? Because that's the first thing I did, okay? And if you go look in the chat, you'll see what it says about the changes. And then, of course, of events happening today, I asked Claude about the concerns of who's in charge, what AI is in charge today in terms of what's happening. And it came back with some extraordinary answers. And I had to edit it because you only get 1,000 characters, as you know, in the chat. But I found what Claude said about itself and its constitution as being very interesting. And I think what's going to happen today because of this new war, they're going to be, in fact, on my social media, not only LinkedIn, but Facebook, I've got a bunch of warriors because I live outside of DC, all talking about, hey, it's now time to make sure we have an Anthropic account, which I found very interesting in terms of this generating interest in Anthropic's newly expanded constitution of humanity, although there's no promise, the old human in the loop, if you're in DC, the least thing you want to do is right now, the only human in the loop they want are the who's. And I'll try to be polite, not saying.
Yes, it's being recorded.
Sherry,
However, my social media is going to get me fingered. I'm sure Kash Patel is going to drive by my house any day.
well, no, but Sherry, Anthropic's the only one who stood up to the department. Huh?
Right.
No, I know. And you should see the response in terms of the insanity of this war starting and me putting out there what on my LinkedIn. I was like, what AI? We all talk, no offense to any of you, but you talk way too much and use too much AI to create responsible AI. Okay. Responsible AI is this war started and there's a bunch of AI baked in that we have no control over. And we should be scared shitless about the engagement of whatever the people who are our leaders are using. And that is a very great argument in terms of the Constitution, because our own Constitution has been thrown out the window.
Right, but if Claude is a supply, if Anthropic is a supply chain risk, and I'm developing using that, what do I tell my client? Can I tell my client you're now a supply chain risk and we have to switch over to Gemini? What do I say? This is the confusion.
Right. And I look at the big picture, Evan. Go back 10 years and think about the software that drove supply chain. Nobody was, quote, shitting in their pants. Oh my God, the thing spilled out and we got the wrong column and so everything's askew. But now everything is hypersensitive because of the dialogue of what is it going to do. I think the only thing that we have to pay attention to as the downside is what's happening today. Today absolutely is going to nail the future of responsible AI because of this war. Just wait and see. Guarantee you.
Great points, Sherry and Evan. So I think just in the interest of time, we are now going to split up into breakout rooms. We do have a hard stop, so instead of maybe taking 15 minutes, we'll probably take 5 to 7 minutes, because I know we all love chatting, so I know we want to have some time when we come back to debrief. So I'm going to go ahead and repaste the prompts. We may not be able to get to each of the 3 questions, depending on the group that you're going to be in. But once you are in the breakout room, please, one of you volunteer to be the facilitator, as well as the person who's going to take the notes, and of course, have a free-flowing discussion. So let me go ahead and send the prompts again. And I am going to put us out in breakout rooms. Create 3. So I think 3 should be good. Right.
And Yuvika and I will kind of try to make sure that we are not in
Yeah.
the same room together. So,
Yep. So have you started seeing the rooms? Cool.
All right, Yuvika, which room are you in?
No, I'm not even getting something. Hang on.
Okay, I'm in
You are in
room
room 2, so I can join either room 3, because it has the least. Oh, Sherry is in it. All right. Yeah,
Okay, let
join.
me join room 2.
Yeah, join room 2.
Yeah.
Maida, where are you right now?
I'm in
Now I'm
Charlotte.
in Mexico.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking where's Meta?
Yeah, I'm in Charlotte,
Ah, sorry.
NC, North Carolina. I'm a master's student currently, so
Are you at the university?
yeah.
Okay, great. I know there's a chapter of AWA in North Carolina, so that's great. And we are been blessed with Yuvika.
Yes, I'm going to keep quiet, but I feel that we may only just get to one question. So I think the
Okay.
first one is a good one. So please go ahead and start talking about it. And who's going to be the note taker and who's going to be the speaker? One, whoever that person is going to be.
Uh-oh.
Blanca, Veda, you want to be the note taker?
Yes.
Okay, and then who's gonna you'll also speak up or
Did you hear my comment about and it's, hold on, I want to make sure I get your name in. Blanca, you said you're head of responsible AI. Doesn't what happened this morning change your version of what responsible AI is?
Because of this constitution that
Because
we're
of the war that has just been declared and the way we throw around responsible AI, really and truly, from my side, I cannot say this loudly enough. It's just a word. It has become responsible AI. Nobody understands what it means in truth. And those who understand how it's being used today in this new global situation will, I think, benefit from it to understand the dangers behind. I think there'll be a broadening impact of the what responsible AI is and how people will be more cautious than worrying about, oh, this could hurt my sales because it hallucinated and we don't really have green handbags. We have blue. Do you know what I mean? I mean, let's face it, all this talk about, how AI is not on track in terms of being responsible, in terms of the guardrails. I think it's all silly. I've got to tell you that. I'm a very old person, and I think it's really silly compared to what we should be would be focusing on of what responsible AI is. And Anthropic, I hope, because of today, is going to get a lot more fans over to its side to understand what's at risk here.
Yeah, well, I think what we can do is take care of the entire life cycle of the AI system using Anthropic or any platform. We must be mindful of data bias, and we can do more, too much. But the only thing is to do whatever we can do during the process to take care of our data, of the equity, sorry, and after the responsibility is in us. I mean, because we need to say to our children, hey, don't use this because they are talking about this, or they are putting you in danger. But I think yes, it's we are in a big um, problem now. But I think we can start doing something. I mean, we don't have any framework that is mandatory, no. But we have a lot of proposals that we can follow. So I have two or three. Well, for example, in Mexico, there's 182 proposals that were presented, and I think just the 12% they are analyzing that. But the thing is, not everyone can do these frameworks because it's about everybody, no, the safeness of everybody. So I think it's more in us, but we need to have something in what believe in the Global Council for Responsible AI. Hey, we have something that we can follow as a to begin and try to save our data, our dignity. I think, but yes, I think it's a.
But I think
Yeah.
there's a huge division.
Oh,
I
well.
absolutely see clearly, because of what has happened today, all this responsible AI in terms of consumer goods, as I pointed out, oh my God, it derailed the order. We can't ship purple handbags, okay? The distinction of soft, crazy, BS consumer goods versus the reality of the real danger of not enough humans in the loops that impact our very being is today is going to be the division line of stopping a lot of, sorry, BS, if you know what that means, stopping the BS in terms of everybody squawking, responsible AI. You know, if you've got a commercial business and you didn't do your homework to build your agent to respond to your client list, good luck. It is no different of bad websites going back to the beginning 20 years ago, where the good websites got the business and the bad websites, like, not so much. So there's a huge distinction between the economy of a country and the businesses that fall under it and the impact that matters in terms of responsible AI. And isn't it amazing that Anthropic chose to take a stand 2 days ago before this happened today? I find the timing incredible.
All
I
right.
find
Yeah,
the
yeah.
timing
Hop in another
incredible.
room. So we have one question that we need to discuss. So please go ahead and discuss that question and be ready to come back maybe in 3-4 minutes. So
What question are we discussing?
should AI systems have moral consideration? So
Moral. Did you say the word moral?
yes, moral.
Okay. Okay. There's a little dangerous word.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, Vika.
Hi,
Hi,
just
Ulka.
popping in to see how you're all doing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
We just got started on the first question, right? About
Yeah.
who should write
Amazing.
it.
That's all we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had got a good constitution for learn and lead.
Right. Yeah. Good framework.
Yeah, good framework.
Yeah.
So, Sai and Ashwin, right? You just
Mhm.
mentioned about Sai. You said governments, right? Ashwin, you said the companies should come together. But if I look at the world, right, the governments can't agree on one way of dealing things in the world today, in spite of
Right.
so many years of interacting with each other,
Right.
right? And this, if you look at companies, right, then the profit drives them, nothing else, right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if profit is going to get impacted by good ethics, they are obviously going to sacrifice it because shareholder value comes first.
Yeah.
So I don't think governments nor companies are the right, folks to write the constitution on AI.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, there are two options that I have been thinking about this for a while, right? So, which is when Uvika shared this invite, right? I was excited. I was like, okay, this is something that I've been thinking about. Is either you give every individual the right to write their own constitution, okay, and then I know it's going to lead to initially a lot of conflict, but then it's going to be a true representation of the world that exists today, right? We all behave in our own, on ecosystem and align to our own ecosystem, and then it would be a real replica of the world that exists today. Is the world that exists today perfect? No, it's not. But
Mm-hmm.
largely, barring certain folks who are very eager to go to war, largely we have managed to stay peaceful for many years, right? We have not had a world war, touch wood, since a very long time. So
Right.
we have managed to stay out of it. So I think that's one option. The
Mm-hmm.
other will have to be where we let the AIs come together
Yeah.
and determine one way of working that
Like
is
a
not dependent.
consortium. Yes.
Yes, but a consortium of AIs, not AI
Yeah.
companies, not governments, right? Which is going to be tough. It's not an easy approach, but if we can achieve that, that would be the ideal scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah, agree. And this, makes me recall even that I heard like when they make some nuclear, weapon treaties, they come
Mm.
together because it's hitting humanity at the end. And
Right.
there are certain basic rules for every nation, which maybe nation to nation, nation one to nation two, it may differ like 10 to 20%, but 80% is remaining the same. So I think such thing have to come up, because as AI goes this technological evolution process, now human, the human empathy, human logic, human everything has to come to save ourselves now, humanity.
Oh, I think you're
Sorry, you're
muted.
on mute. You're
Yes,
on
we are
mute.
gonna now start going back to the other room so that we
Okay.
have time for dialogue. But great points, guys. See you there.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Vivek.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, everybody's
Yeah,
coming back.
it was such a great discussion. Loved it.
I know, like group one was also on fire. They had some interesting points. And then,
Where's Sherry's group?
oh, Sherry's group, I kicked everybody out, so they're coming back now. They wanted to stay and talk more and more, but hopefully they're
Yeah,
coming back.
we
So,
blazed through our questions. We did all three of
are
them.
you serious? My God.
Yes. Yes,
This
we
is good.
did. So,
Efficient. All right. Where is Sherry? I hope they didn't get I kicked everybody. So
Are they sulking? Sorry.
I don't know.
maybe,
Let
yeah,
me
but
ask Sherry what
it
happened.
is,
No,
it
maybe
is.
you kicked them out of the meeting. Who
No,
knows?
no, I just
Yeah.
closed the
Oh,
breakout room.
there she
Oh,
Oh,
there
is.
there
she's.
she
They're
is.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, I only closed the breakout
It
room.
takes when Sherry's in a room, it takes time to get her out of there.
I know.
We all know it by practice.
Yay, Sherry is back.
Well, why
Blanca
would
made her.
why would I come back before it was time?
Well, it was time. All
Yeah,
right.
and we're back.
Yeah.
We
All
got
right.
today.
All right.
All
So who
right.
wants to go first?
Room one.
Room one. Yes, go ahead. I know you all answered the first question. So comments,
Yeah,
thoughts.
I will give a summary. So while we were focused on the first question, we kind of touched upon answering the first question, the other two, right? So essentially, we did kind of talk about all three. Um, the first question, which was who should write the AI constitution. So Sai initially started off with how the constitutions of nations are written, which is people across the nation come together and write a constitution, and therefore possibly governments could be the ones writing the constitutions for AIs. Ashwin came in with the opinion that we are imperfect and rules have been inconsistent across nations, so we can't really have a consistent nature if the nations are writing it. Maybe companies who are building the AIs come together as a consortium and are able to give out a constitution that works for all of us. My perspective on that was that nations are governed by their own politicians and things like that. Companies are governed by profit. So I don't see either of them as being ideal candidates. Probably we give all of us individuals an agency, or we give AI as the agency, right, to write their own constitution. So that's what we were kind of talking about. And at the end of it, I think what we concluded was that, like the nuclear proliferation treaties, right? They are different for each country, but largely everybody comes together and agrees saying we are not going to do at least these things. We have our own flexibilities. We are going to behave in a way that feels right for us, but on a global scale, we are going to make sure we don't do these things.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that would be more practical.
And I think that's great. I mean, it's a great three-way looking at it. Like one says government, one says organization, one says people at large. And I think the answers are probably at the intersection of all of it. I don't know, but
three.
almost like a shared responsibility,
Yeah.
where because even with any tool like a Microsoft tool, when you have security and all that, it's a shared responsibility between the company and the user, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
So something along those lines, where one crafts it, the other goes back, evaluates it, and then it's sort of, it's an yeah, that's what I think, like a
I feel
share.
like everybody needs to have a seat at the table, right? Like who is getting impacted by it, as well as, the governments, as well as, the folks who are designing the tech. But I like the point that everywhere it's going to differ. So at the very least, it's almost like this is like a, red flag. It's almost like when you're driving a car, you're not supposed to be running over a pedestrian. So it's like, that's like a no-no. So great point. Ashwin, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I had heard, talk about Indian constitution, sort of thinking about this. We know there are probably less rules in the US. Do we know which country or which group of countries is thinking about this? Does anybody know, like thinking hard as a first step? Who's
This
sort of,
constitution, like
yeah,
adopt.
AI constitution in general.
Yeah, Ashwin, AI, Indian government has come out with something. If Vik, I can
Yeah.
share with you the document, right, that the
Great.
government has put out, and you can share with the larger group, right?
Yep.
So Ashwin, there is really interesting, and what they have come out with is very different from the EU laws, the Japan laws, or the American laws, because this is not a law.
Hmm.
What they've
It's
come
a
out with is
guideline.
not a law, right? It's guidelines saying this is how ethical AI looks like. This is how responsible AI looks like. This is how inclusive AI looks like.
And Chandramouli, is this the one that they did in November last year, at the Responsible AI Forum? Because that was there in November last year,
I
around.
will have to check the date because it's within the last 2-ish months, right? But it could be, maybe three. November is 3 months, right? So
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
came out with those 2, 3 law firms. So there was a key guy law, and then there was Anand and other a couple of people, right? And
Yeah,
it was
because
done in
they wrote
collaboration
it.
with the Indian government. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I think, in November.
Yeah, November,
Cool.
December timeframe. So no, but that'd be great, Chandramouli, if you can share that, and we can absolutely share it with a larger group. So I think we are now 5 minutes. So group
Thank
2,
you.
quickly.
Evan, do you want to go for it?
Oh, well, yeah, we asked about judgment versus rules. And it's you can't have one or the other. Like judgment cannot be better than rules, or because I said which one can generalize. If we just use rules, it's hard to generalize to new domains and new data. So you need a combination. One leads the other. Judgment leads rules, and rules kind of need judgment. They have to work in tandem. You cannot replace one with the other. You need human judgment, and we're talking about reinforcement learning with human feedback and AI feedback, and we just need a combination of all of that. And then we said, can you encode human values? Can you encode human
Virtue.
virtues? Yes, you can, but there's so many of them that they change all the time. They change across cultures and across time, and we talked about the impact of history. And you can try encoding them, but next month you have to encode a whole bunch of new virtues. So it's going to be hard to measure, change that to measurable outcomes if you just encode 10 virtues today. So the real answer is maybe, but they always change. And then should AI resist like
Disagree.
humans, or can they override humans? Yeah, you need a kill switch, right? But sometimes humans will try to do stuff, will try to ask stuff that will try to override this constitutional AI, and AI should say no, no, no. Just like when a certain department says, I want you to do everything. I want you to be applicable to all use cases, and Claude will say no. So stand your ground. I called out the stand your ground rule. So that was our answer. Okay, AI should override humans. So that's it.
I
That's a
mean,
good
for
point.
harmful situations, like,
Harmful
yeah,
situations. Yes, for
situations, yeah.
real.
It's
And
like
they should judge what is harmful, have some guidelines, have some thresholds. But yes.
it's like you're giving AI the ability to reason and make decisions, right? Based on the value that you have instilled, right? And the
Yep.
Constitution will be like, okay, now I've given you, now use your moral reasoning. It's again going back to the child, analogy that, okay, once you, put in, it's like, okay, now, you're kind of on your own and you should be able to reason. That's a great point. And yeah, to your point, I'm always a firm believer that we need kill switches because There could be times that maybe the reasoning that AI is going to take is not going to be right. And we need to have the ability to override the AI as well, while we are giving AI the ability to override humans. But ultimately, the accountability and the kill switch capability needs to be in our head. So, no, great point. And I know we have 2 minutes remaining. So group 3, Sherry and Medha and Blanca, do you guys want to quickly share about your question that you guys debriefed on?
Yeah, Sherry.
Blanca, go for it.
Medha?
Okay, so as Evan mentioned and Yuvika mentioned, it's like it's a little gray area that should AI have moral considerations. Whose moral considerations are we talking about? Jerry brought that up that like kids nowadays know how to prompt and you're not going to stop them. So how can you stop AI? I mean, we talked about a lot, but it's a little gray area. What happens when broad safety conflicts with cultural ethics, like Evan mentioned? Whose version of morality actually wins? I mean, it's a lot unpredictable and a little gray area that there's a lot to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great point, right? It varies depending on where you're coming from. Everybody's values are slightly different, right? So even when you're talking about moral considerations, it's very gray, right? So it's a great point. Anybody else?
This was a great discussion.
Yes, this was great. And I know we are right up on time. So we have a hard stop today. So hope you all can enjoy the weekend. But Padmini and I would love to thank you so much for coming today on a Saturday morning and joining us for this rich discussion. And we hope we are going to see you at many more of our events. Stay tuned. Padmini is going to be posting our events calendar for March. We have some exciting speakers coming. Padmini, did you want to share anything about that?
No, just watch out for the LinkedIn post. I'm not going to give away the secrets right now. So.
Right. Well, thank you everyone, and I hope you have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, come back again for our next AWAAI session. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
all.
you.
Happy weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.